China has the largest navy in the world and advanced hypersonic missiles, but the US has a new secret weapon. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Be sure to like and leave a comment. It helps us with the algorithm. And make sure you're subscribed because YouTube has been secretly unsubscribing people. And since YouTube also isn't notifying people of new episodes, check back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for new episodes. The Chinese Communist Party is in the middle of the largest military buildup the world's seen since World War II. Already, the Chinese Navy has more ships than the US Navy, which means this is also the biggest push for a navy the world has ever seen since the village people. And China's navy doesn't just stop at conventional military gear. Last year, China successfully tested a hypersonic missile, one that could carry a nuke. Hypersonic missiles are much faster and much harder to shoot down than conventional missiles.
Traveling at velocities greater than Mach 5, hypersonic glide vehicles fly at lower altitudes and are more maneuverable than ballistic missiles, allowing them to maneuver after launch in a way that evades radar tracking and intercept.
The Pentagon was shocked China had this capability. A top U.S. general called it a Sputnik moment. That basically means it was a moment when the U.S. realized an authoritarian adversary is actually more capable than the U.S. This would be like Red Robin finding out that IHOP makes better burgers than they do. What? IHOP doesn't even make decent pancakes. How did this happen? The U.S. is trying to catch up on hypersonic technology, but the latest U.S. hypersonic missile test ended in failure. But not to worry, because the U.S. has a new plan to counter the threat of Chinese hypersonic missiles. Balloons. Yes, this is real. Our best hope against the Chinese Navy might be the old guy from Up. I'll tell you more after this quick commercial break. Welcome back. I know times are tough, but it's getting harder and harder for us to produce China Uncensored. Most of our budget comes from direct viewer support. That's why I'm asking for your help. If you want to help us in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party, join what I call the China Uncensored 50-cent Army. You can contribute on our crowdfunding platform on patreon.com/China Uncensored. All it takes is $1 an episode. You can also make a monthly contribution on our exclusive censorship-free social media platform on ChinaUncensored.locals.com. Or you can make one-time contributions on PayPal or with Bitcoin. More at ChinaUncensored.tv/support. There are a lot of ways you can help support the show, and believe me, it's important you do. We're up against a lot. Links to everything are below. So, yes, in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party, the U.S. military's newest weapon is hot air. Yes, it sounds like trying to defeat a dragon with Skittles. Fingers crossed the dragon is diabetic. According to Defense Department budget documents reviewed by Politico, the Pentagon is quietly transitioning high-altitude balloon projects to the military services. These balloons would fly between 60,000 and 90,000 feet in the air, expanding the Pentagon's surveillance network and possibly even being able to track hypersonic weapons. The balloons might also be armed, a sentence I never thought I would say. Now, if this sounds like science fiction to you, what kind of boring science fiction are you reading? But this is actually very real. According to the budget documents, over the past 2 years, the Pentagon has spent about $3.8 million on balloon projects and plans to spend $27.1 million in fiscal year 2023 to continue work. Wait, just $27 million? For the U.S. military, that's super cheap. For balloons, that's a lot. Even for Jeff Bezos' birthday party. But balloons are a much cheaper alternative to conventional spy planes and satellites. Just to launch and operate those costs millions or tens of millions of dollars each. These balloons can operate at a fraction of the price. Plus, look at all the colors they come in. Oh, mommy, I want the purple one. This isn't new technology either. Back in 2019, it was widely reported the Pentagon was testing mass surveillance balloons in the U.S. It wasn't a monster, it was just the government. That project was called the Covert Long Dwell Stratospheric Architecture Project, or COLD STAR. That acronym is kind of stretching it, but okay. But that domestic spy program has now been transitioned to the military. The U.S. Army was also experimenting with the spy blimp program in the mid-2010s. That program was called the Joint Land Attack Cruise Missile Elevated Netted Sensor System, or JLENS. Oh, come on, they weren't even trying with that one. That program was scrapped after the blimp broke free and flew around out of control for about 3 hours. They spent $2 billion on it. I'm not feeling good about our chances against the Chinese military right now. But this new Pentagon program doesn't use just any balloons. They're using smart balloons. One of the leading makers is Raven Aerostar. Okay, our latest weapon against China is something straight out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. And again, I guess Joe has been having some bizarre adventures lately. Raven Aerostar uses a proprietary machine learning algorithm that predicts wind directions and fuses incoming sensor data in real time. But can it track and shoot down a Chinese hypersonic missile? Let's hope so, because until we get our own hypersonic missiles, throwing Skittles at dragons is the best we've got. And now, as a thank you to the China Uncensored 50-Cent Army, I'll answer one of their questions. Today's question comes from David Michael White on Patreon. Chris, what was your first Made in China experience? Very interesting question, David. I'd say the one that stands out most in my mind is my first trip to a Cracker Barrel restaurant in Florida. Cracker Barrel is peak Americana. They have a store that sells some of the most patriotic things you can imagine. You'd be surprised what you can stick an American flag on. But almost every piece of merchandise was made in China. I was shocked. If we celebrate America by buying junk made in an authoritarian regime that's dedicated to destroying the country, we don't stand a chance. The only thing in Cracker Barrels that should be destroying Americans is the food. Thanks for your question and your support, David. And thank you to everyone watching China Uncensored. Our funding doesn't come from giant corporations or governments. Most of it is directly from viewers like you, who contribute $1 or more per episode on patreon.com/China Uncensored, or make a monthly contribution on ChinaUncensored.locals.com. Be like David and help us in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party. Links are below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.